this is the very special interview episode with the Daniel Das. So this interview is all about how Daniel helped others to find their voice with his voice warrior moment. Actually, Daniel Das has started his journey in lockdown time, and in this short time, he has done 50 plus interviews with his Dream 100. So, and he helps people to find their own voice and in the online space and using his warrior moments. So, and he's the founder of Voice Warriors. So, today's episode is all about how we can connect with our Dream 100 and how we can set up our own interview shows. So, Daniel will help us to, and if you are having any questions related to your starting your own interview show, you can directly ask to him. So, let's welcome to our guest. So, hi, Daniel.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Priyanka. It's good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm also doing good. So
Awesome,
I'm
awesome.
first of all, I would like to say thank you to you for coming on my show and giving your precious time to us to share your some experience in this online space.
Yeah, you're most welcome. And I'm grateful to be here. Such an honor to be here as well. And yeah, ready to share some value and to serve your audience.
Yes, yes. So actually, I know from last 6 months. I know about you, and I know about you through your interview shows basically. So and so basically, I would like to hear about your backstory. How did you started your online journey and everything?
All right, yeah, sure. So yeah, so basically it all started. I think as you know as well, it all started when I was in the pandemic, through the pandemic, right? And before the pandemic, actually, I was working in a recruitment agency in Singapore. Right now, I'm in Malaysia. I'm staying here in Malaysia. But when I was in Singapore, I was in a recruitment agency where I was a sales specialist. So being a sales specialist, I was able to travel the world, yeah, because of my position, and I was able to travel to India, to Bangladesh, to China, to Malaysia as well at that point of time, and also a few other countries, and to bring people in to work in Singapore, right? And so that basically was an awesome journey, I would say. And when at that point of time as well, I was figuring it out on how should I start a passive income stream, right? And because I just somehow knew in my heart, like wanted something online, because I was seeing the online businesses was just growing, but not as fast as after the pandemic, but it was growing, right? And then so at that point of time, so I was just searching, and it was March the 17th in my country. And March the 17th was the lockdown that happened in our borders. So nobody could travel into Singapore, nobody could travel out, nobody could travel to Malaysia. So at that point of time, and that time, it was just 3 days, actually, no, 3 or 4 days after my wedding. Yeah, it was 4 days, yeah, 4 days after my wedding. And so I was like, I just got married, so I got a wife, I got responsibility, right? And so that really pushed me to really find out more about this whole online journey. And during that point of time as well, I know that my job is going to be over on the edge, right? I'm going to lose my job because I couldn't get people from anywhere anymore, right? Because all the borders were closed, right? So I
Right.
couldn't get people in working into Singapore anymore. So I really had to figure it out. So I went into online. I got my first course. Just to cut the story short, it's a long story, but yeah, I got my first course with Peng Jun, and then that got me to know about ClickFunnels, got me to know Russell Brunson and his mission, and I really went through the OFA and all this stuff, and when I saw this one quote by Russell Brunson, and this quote goes by this, we are all called to serve a certain group of people, right? And when
Right.
Russell mentioned that, it really reminded me of the time when I was working in the recruitment agency. And during that time, I was actually leading a team, right? I started as a beginner. I became about like a team leader and started teaching people on how to close sales, how to do sales calls, cold calls, how to talk with their clients and so on. And so that really reminded me of that time whereby me earning the commissions or the money by myself wasn't really fulfilling, but helping my team getting their sales closing sales and getting their commission got me the sense of fulfillment. And so really that really took me on a journey on basically how to find my voice, right? I was so into discovering our voice, because our voices is so powerful, right? If you know,
Right.
team captains, presidents, right? Even parents, all they have to do is the parents tell their children, keep quiet, and children have to obey, right? And if you're talking
Right.
about the captains in team football, when the captain says, go and shoot the ball this way, pass the ball that way, everyone will listen. When the president says the country is on lockdown, everybody goes on lockdown, right? So the power of our voice is very powerful, actually, just by
Right.
using our voice. So it's how we, so I just wanted to discover more of my own voice and help people too. So that got me through a journey. And reading Russell Brunson's book, he's really someone that I really look up to. And when he mentioned in the dot com secrets, he mentioned in a lot of his videos, when we are beginners, when we are starters, we should be starting off as a reporter. So what
Right.
does a reporter do? A reporter do is basically they interview people, right? So I started, that got me to start Voice Warriors. And so in December 2020, 1st December 2020, I started the first episode of Voice Warriors Radio. And so the rest is basically history. And as you know, I wouldn't be here standing with you if I didn't launch my interview show. And so that's basically my whole backstory. And yeah, I went through quite a number of things, challenges, and so on. But somehow, yeah, I made it. And there's still a long way to go, right? There's still so many
Yes.
things to learn, and a lot of ways that I can, strategies that I learned to grow and go up to the next level. And so, yeah, that's basically my whole backstory in short.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Actually, we all saw that within a very short period of time, you go a lot. And your interview show, the power. I joined your group before, I think, 3 months or 4 months, but your trainings and everything are fabulous, just fabulous. So,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
as you just told that when we are starting our journey, and Russell Brunson also mentioned that we have to act as a reporter. So that
Yeah.
thing is also, yes, that thing is also important. I would like to know more about your challenges. What challenges you have faced when you started in this space, in interview, starting your own interview show and all.
Okay. So, what are the challenges in my interview show? You say?
What are the challenges
So,
you faced when you started your online journey and your own interview show?
online journey. So if you're saying about online journey, so online journey, there were a few of them. So one of them was the fear of camera. I before this, even before getting on camera, I used to, when I was in the sales job, when I was working in the recruitment agency, I had to talk to a group of people. I had to talk a crowd of people. The maximum people that I was talking to was, I think, about 150 people at once, speaking to them. So I had that fear of crowds at first, right, when I started. But I somehow overcame that, practice, and made it work. And but then when it came to talking in front of the camera, I was like, oh, this is quite difficult as well. Even though I'm not talking to thousands of people, but I have the opportunity to talk to millions of people. But then again, that little piece of camera that I'm looking now to, it's quite scary, right?
Right.
Because you might be afraid, you might be saying something wrong, or maybe how do I look. And also that was the fear. I had that fear of camera along with all the other things. And that was basically my online journey. So I would say the one key thing to do is taking imperfect action, right? When you take the
Right.
imperfect action and you keep on practicing, that will definitely help you, and that will definitely help you to overcome all those fears, right? And of course, I have a four-step framework, but before I share that, or if we have time later, I'll share that as well. But then the other challenge when I started an interview show is I didn't know how to launch one. So what I did was I went and model other people, right? So if you want to have success in your business, you have to model those
Right.
that has already had success, right? So I went and modeled other people's interview, like people like Tom Bilyeu, people like even Oprah Winfrey, Larry King, people that's outside of the online space as well. I went and see their interviews and watch them, how they are doing it, how do they present, how do they bring their guests on the show. And so that was my fears, right? When I started off, if you see my episode 1, which I'll be uploading very soon on my YouTube page,
Okay.
I was like, the next question is, I keep doing that. I was so fearful in a way, I'll say, and I was nervous. And we always get nervous,
Yes,
when we're
yes.
talking about interview show. Nervousness will never, for me, I feel, well, it's hard to run away, but we got to always be focused on our message, focus on what we are doing at the moment, and how we are helping our audience and so on. So that will definitely help you overcome all those fears and challenges.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So that's very important to take imperfect actions. So those
Yeah.
imperfect actions will be perfect someday.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes. And
yes.
when you say that, right, a lot of times we feel that, we have to be perfect, but we don't have to, because perfect, it always depends on the person watching
Right.
it, the person looking at it, the person who is seeing it, or the person who is like, how do I say, analyzing it, I'll say. But at the end of the day, when you say perfect, it all depends on that person, because someone may say it's perfect, but another person may say it's just okay. So at the end of the day, we got to keep on practicing, keep on getting better at what we are doing, and keep on learning and growing, because the day when you stop learning is the day you stop growing.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So before moving ahead, I just wanted to let the audience, if you are watching live, just put hashtag live, and if you will be watching replay, just put hashtag replay. And if you are
Yeah.
having any questions and you want to ask to Daniel, you can directly ask in the comment section. Daniel will definitely answer that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Daniel, just moving forward, I would like to know the your motivation behind why you started your own interview show.
Why I started my own interview show, I will actually go back to the answer that I just actually shared with you earlier on. So the reason why was, when I was starting out, you know, I went and did research and all, and I saw basically Russell Brunson's book, The Dot-Com Secrets, and he mentioned over there that we have to be a reporter, especially when we start, because we are not an expert yet.
Right.
So before being an expert, we definitely have to start from a beginner. So how do we start from a beginner? The fastest way to grow with it is, interviewing others, right? Interviewing experts, not just others, experts, right? So because when you interview experts, you basically build a stronger authority with your show, you build trust, you build credibility. And
Right.
just to share a little thing about why I started an interview show, is also because I did a lot of research and studying and understanding a lot of these elite entrepreneurs, like Tony Robbins. Russell Brunson is one of them, and few other, other experts that you might not have heard of. They are experts in gardening, and those other niches. And they started their whole entrepreneurship journey by interviewing experts, right?
Mm.
And when they
Right.
did that, they became an expert after a certain point of time, because they keep on interviewing experts and they keep on growing. Just to share a latest news that I just got from one of my coaches as well. He shared about this guy named Mark Lack, right? So Mark Lack was actually in a way like a nobody, right? But today he's somebody. If you just go on Google, you type Mark Lack, and you can type there Grant Cardone. Do you know Grant Cardone, by the way?
I
Grant
don't know.
Cardone, not too sure. Okay, Grant Cardone is basically a billionaire, right?
Okay.
And he if you go on ClickFunnels, you will see Grant Cardone's video over there in ClickFunnels as well. So he's a
Okay.
billionaire, and his thing is called the 10x program. And so basically what happens here is that Mark Black, this guy, was a nobody when he started off, but after he got the opportunity to interview Grant Cardone, his level of authority went up. He went to the next level just like that, because of the amount of exposure that he got from that interview show. Even before the interview show, he actually sent this guy Grant Cardone a money gun, where you can shoot out the money in the air. If you see those videos, right?
Okay.
So and Grant Cardone did a video using the money gun that he was using, and so that got him exposure as well. And right now, if I'm not wrong, Mark like actually charges for his mastermind or his inner circle from somewhere about $50,000 just to join his mastermind. So the power of interviewing an expert is very, very powerful, right? And
Right.
always I encourage those who are going to start an interview show or already having an interview show to not use it for evil. Make sure to use it for good, because you definitely can use it
Right.
for evil, right? Because you have built so much trust, authority, and credibility. But if you're going to use it for evil, I'm against that, definitely. But if you're going to use it for good, to serve your audience, to help your audience, and bring them to the next level, then go for it, right? So
Right.
that's what I really believe of an interview show.
Right. Right. Amazing. Amazing. So, and we can say that this is your inner voice to start an
Yeah.
your interview show.
Yeah, you could say that as well. But like I said, when I started my this journey, right, I wanted to actually teach people or share with people or help people to discover their voice. And I
Okay.
wanted to start a program actually to help people do that. But after some time, when I launched my interview show and so on, my whole path got changed into interview shows and helping people with interview show. So like I said earlier on as well, we definitely always have to take imperfect actions, and we always have to take action, because if we don't take any action, nothing is going to happen. We will never know what's the
Right.
outcome. But when we take that action, then we will know which path to take. A lot of entrepreneurs, most of them actually, they come, not most of them, some of them, actually, when they come to me, they ask me like, which path should I take? And I'll tell them like, so have you tried this? Have you tried that? And they'll be like, no, I never tried this. I've never tried that. And I'm like, if you haven't even tried it, it's going to be very challenging for you to know which path you want to take,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so we have to take that imperfect action, and most importantly, we have to take action.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, whether that's action will be, as we mentioned earlier, those imperfect actions will be perfect someday, and we have to find
Yeah.
that we have to work for that one perfect action. Right.
Yep. Yep.
Amazing.
Exactly.
So yeah, actually you have done. I saw you have done 50 plus interviews with your Dream 100, right? So
Mhm.
how's your experience, and what are the difficulties that you have faced while inviting to your Dream 100 on your show?
So yeah, the experience is really mind blowing. I'll say, one of my greatest, one of the best, or I'll say one of my favorites. Actually, all of them are my favorites, to be honest. But yeah, one really awesome interview that I did was with Myron Golden, and I got him on the show. And if you go and check on his website or check on his page, per hour of his time he charges somewhere, if I'm not wrong, it might be higher right now, somewhere around 15 grand an hour of his time, right? And he came on my show and he did a masterclass for about 1 hour plus. And
Amazing.
and that's really mind blowing, the amount of value he shared. And you can ask some people over here. I see like Nilesh Saga, yeah, they know about it as well, right? And it's basically an amazing experience, and it's always every time when you interview a new expert, you get to learn new things, you get to new strategies, new tips, new hacks, and so on. And so yeah, if you're asking me back, if what are the challenges that I face, I would say that challenges when I started on interviewing this or getting this Dream 100, I had to went through a lot of trial and errors, because one mistake that I made also, I didn't had a coach, right? I didn't had a mentor. I didn't had someone, a leader at that point of time. So I started everything by myself. And this is something that I'll advise a lot of entrepreneurs, that when you're starting out as well, always try your best. If let's say you don't have financial, go and get those resources, because all you have to do is be resourceful. right? And once you
Right,
get the
right.
resources, then you go ahead and get a coach or a mentor or a leader that's going to guide you, that's going to lead you, because that is going to really minimize, it's going to cut down on the time taken to go through all those trials and errors for you to get to the next level faster. So that was my mistake when I started off, not getting a coach, not getting a mentor. And of course there was a financial challenge, I'll say. But then again, after that, after many trials and error, when it came to inviting my guests, because I invited in not the right way of my messaging and so on. But after that, I perfected it. I made it better, and it's of course still getting better and better again. And yeah, somehow today I'm able to even share it to my students who are crushing it and getting their eight-figure entrepreneurs on their show, and
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
and so on. Yeah, so
Yes,
that's
yes,
that's
and
really awesome.
we are seeing that Nilesh and Suraj, they are
Yeah.
already inviting the a 7 to 8 figure entrepreneurs on their show.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
congratulations to you and your students also, Nilesh and
Thank you. Thank you.
particularly Suraj also. Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, yes. And can you just share some tips? Someone who wants to share their own interview show, how can someone start their own interview show? Any tips to related to that?
I mean, any tips? Okay, there is of course a long list of things to do, but a quick tip is basically, first thing is just model what's working right now, model those successful interview shows, and then from there on, find out ways on how you can get better with it, right? How to
Yes.
take your interview show to the next level, because each time when you do an interview show, there is always an opportunity to do it better the next time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you may feel that the interview show that you are doing right now, you may feel that it's not that good. Then find out, go and watch the replays, go and watch it a few times. That's what I did when I started off. I watched so many times on my replay and see what could I do differently, what could I do better. And that, with that, that really pushed me forward. And of course, always practice, right? If you don't practice, you will never be better, right? Always. And something that I like to say as well, practice makes progress, right? If you
Right.
don't practice, there's no progress, right? If you don't take action, nothing, you don't know what's the outcome, right? And so with that, that will definitely be a few tips. It will definitely help you with your interview show.
Yeah. So this is about the starting our own interview show. And what about if we are inviting someone? Some type of hesitation in our mind. Should I
Mhm.
have to approach him or not? Will he reply me or not? Some type of hesitation will be there. So what is the
As a quick
solution
tip.
for that? Is that any?
Sure, sure.
Yes.
No problem. So, I mean, like a quick tip that I'll just say is, when always make a list. That's the first thing you should always do. Make a list of the experts that you want to interview. It could be even people like Russell Brunson, Tony Robbins. Make that list. Why not, right? Because one day
Yes.
you
Yes.
will definitely get if you want to, right? So make those lists down, but break them up into different tiers, into an A, B, and C tier, right? And
Okay.
always start from the C, right? Always start from the lowest tier. Who is around you that is easy to get a hold of, to interview right away, right? Get those people that are near you, who are getting success, who are getting to the next level. Interview them first, and once you get better with that, then you can bring those interview posters, right? Because every time when you do an interview show, you definitely want to have interview posters, right? So you can have some interview posters to show the next level tier that, hey, so and so, I've already done about 10 episodes with all these entrepreneurs. They are also basically maybe from ClickFunnels, or maybe they are from another funnel building software, whatever it is, but they are all entrepreneurs as well. Would you be able to, join me on my show? Would you give me that opportunity to interview you, right? And so, yeah, so that is some tips that I'll say, because you do not want to, when you're starting an interview show, especially, you do not want to straight away go to Russell Brunson, hey, Russell, come on my show, right? And
Yes.
the answer
Yes.
will definitely be
No.
no, right? Right? Unless you are like Russell's best friend's son or something like that, but it's still going to be very challenging. But yeah, at the end of the day, you want to start low, then go high, right? You don't want to straight away jump high. And it's a mistake that I made when I started off as well. But it's not really a mistake. I would say it's a lesson learned, because when I started off, my first ever guest was actually a two combo club winner, right? And yeah, that was really crazy. And I was just doing an interview show. I was my first episode, 𝗂𝗶𝗵𝗃 winner, and I'm like so nervous. I don't know what I was doing, and that's a lesson learned that all my basically my students as well, when those who are starting their own interview show as well, I always encourage them to start at a lower tier first, interview them, get pro at it, get good at it, and once you're good at it, start going up the ladder. And so, and when you asked me just now, like how do you approach them? Yeah, so that's one way to approach them. Another way is actually is also linking with this way, but always engage with those experts first, right? Even those that are near you, right? Make friends with them, get close to them, understand what they are doing, study them, research and study about what they are doing, what projects they have, what is their interest, and so on. And from then on, then you can slowly ask questions like, hey, would it be possible to have you on the show, and so on. And yeah, that will be a tip that I would suggest to all entrepreneurs that are starting a show.
Yes, yes, amazing. Yeah, so I would like to mention one thing here. So the people who are watching live, just make some notes, and Daniel is sharing a lot of tips. Means he just shared a golden nugget. So if you are watching live or watching replay, just make a notes, and what is he sharing, and you can yes, yes. So when you will make notes, so that thing means he just mentioned some three categories, make three categories, A, B, and C. Start approaching to the third category. So amazing
Yes.
thing. Yes, yes. So yeah, actually, every niche is different. So how can we find our dream 100 in that particular niche? So because everyone
Okay.
is having the different dream 100 list.
True, that's true.
Yes,
So
yes,
you mean how do we find, right?
yes,
Basically, I would say that there's a lot of ways that you can find, but yeah, you have to, like I said, research and study your guests first. So make a list first, right? So make that list down on your dream experts that you want to interview. For example, if I say right now, Russell Brunson, what is his niche? Online business, right?
yes,
And
yes.
he supports a lot of niches, right? But
Correct.
then again, if you really go into really deep on what he's doing, I mean, when he started off, he was from potato guns. What he discovered,
Yes,
funnels. And so
right.
funnels is his really key niche there, right? But of course,
Yes,
he
yes,
helps a lot of niche to get into his funnels, but the funnel itself was something that he really discovered. And from there on, how he grew and became big. So it's the same thing when you're finding your dream experts as well. List them all down, but then when you up one by one, you have to go through what niche are they in. You have to discover it yourself, right? Because and from there on, then you'll know. If let's say I tell you right now, Jim Edwards. Jim Edwards is the
yes, yes,
copywriting, right? He's the
yes.
expert on that. But then again, he has other things that he does. He knows about ads as well, and he knows about other stuff with technology and so on. Like when I was interviewing him, he shared a very awesome new technology about his camera, where he can like do a 360 with his camera and so on. So yeah, those kind of things we have to really understand about our guests, right, before even
Correct.
interviewing them, and that will definitely help you find the right guests for your niche. Right. And
Okay.
as you can see on my show as well, I don't interview guests that are from the e-commerce space, but I do have guests from the e-commerce space, but they are in the coaching niche.
Yes, yes,
You get me, right?
yes,
So
yes, yes,
basically,
yes.
that's where I want my guests to be, or that's what guests do I want is those type of guests. Those are that are in the coaching, but they had experience in the e-commerce, not purely just e-commerce. And yeah, that's basically it.
There's something mutual in between your niche and what are the service they are providing to their audience. There's
Yes,
something be
exactly.
mutual, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and back to voice warriors, right? So like my mission, my motto is, we believe that we all have a voice that is capable of making a huge and having a huge impact on the
Impact.
people whom we are called to serve. That's my motto for voice warriors, right? And
Amazing.
so I want to interview experts that has already used their voice to sell, that already has used their voice to impact, that already used their voice to share their message, and they discovered their voice. I want those experts on my show. Right? So
Amazing.
that's how you really niche down to your interview show, especially because and when you're having an interview show, you don't want to just interview everybody. on this planet, right? So you want to niche down very specific. And a lot of times as well, as some of my students and some other interview show people as well, they ask me this question as well. So, but I'm starting. Can I interview just about anyone? I will tell them this answer. You can interview anyone, but always be specific to the niche. And if the niche is broad, it's still okay. That means, for example, like what I mean is, if that guy is an entrepreneur and he's getting on his next level, but he hasn't really specified on his niche, yeah, you still can interview him, because you know why? You want to get practice, right?
Yes,
But
yes,
after coming to a certain episode, I'll say maybe about 7 or even 10 episodes, you have to start niching down on your experts,
yes, yes,
right? So
yes,
that's one tip
yes,
over there.
yes, yes. Amazing, amazing. Working for impacting more lives. This
Yeah,
is, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, as I would like to know how we can go into the deeper conversation. Means as you told previously, when we are starting in our interviews, taking interviews and everything, so we just
Mhm.
go question by questions. This is my next question, this is my, so how we can go into the deeper conversation actually. For example, if I pick one point and go in depth for that particular point, is there anything, can you please elaborate more about that?
Okay, do you mean by interview questions, or do you mean by
uh,
messaging the experts? What do you mean?
Messaging or anything, one particular type, but go deeper into that particular type for the deeper conversation, meaningful conversation.
Through messages, you mean?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, messaging. Okay, so if you're talking about deeper messaging, if I'm not mistaken by your question, so I'll say that, when, always start off with engaging with them, right? Being thankful for their, whatever their post is, engage on their post, like, if they have a YouTube channel, subscribe, and comment. Don't forget to comment on their posts and so on. And because even though they might be an elite entrepreneur, those high level entrepreneurs, some high level entrepreneurs do see their comments. That is something that you must take note. They do see their comments, and when they see their comments, your name is there. A lot of times, they definitely will take note about you. And
It's
so when
popping up.
you,
It's popping up on their
yes,
screen and mind as well.
yes, exactly. So when that happens, they will take note of you, and that will make it easy for you to ask them to come on the show. And from then on, after the show and so on, if you're talking about deeper conversations, you always drop them a message, like what I do with all my guests. And most of my guests, I'll say not every one of them, but I do keep in touch with all of them. Like I just drop them like, hi, hope you're doing well. Just dropping by just to say thank you again for that time you came on my interview show. And yeah, sometimes I just drop them hi, or I saw your awesome post, congrats, or something like. Just drop them a message each time, so that you will still have that connection with your guests.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, 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 yes.
All right,
Amazing.
all right,
Yes, yes.
cool.
Yeah. So actually, you just shared that the all the interviews were the memorable, and but I would want to know more about the your best interview till date. And if we want to go and check that particular interview, can you just tell us that particular one interview?
One interview, okay, to be honest, I have a lot. Every one of them has their own specific wonderful answers or strategies and tips, right? But if you would ask me to choose, I wouldn't choose because it was my favorite interview, I'll say, but I would choose is because it was kind of different. Right? It was a different concept. It became like a masterclass on my interview show, and that will be Myron Golden, right? So it's on my YouTube channel. You can go and check it out. It's 1 hour, so prepare yourself 1 hour. Clear your time out. Don't be distracted by your phone or anything else, because that 1 hour is going to change your life, right?
Okay, amazing. So I will do one thing. I will just pick that YouTube link and I will post that in the
Yeah,
comment. So if someone
that's cool.
wants to go to that interview, so he can go to that
Yeah,
interview also. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
most welcome.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And you connected on one-on-one session with Russell Brunson. So how
Oh
did
yeah.
you connect with him, and how's your experience? Because we know that the experience is out of word, but we want to hear from your mouth. Yes.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that experience alone, I was like, I would even it's priceless, I'll say. You can't put a price tag on that, getting the opportunity to talk to Russell Brunson. I mean, of course, one day I wish I could talk to him face to face, but that virtual talk, if you go on his podcast, it's there as well. And my question is there in his podcast. You can check it out. And so, it was an ROR symposium, right? Written on relationship. And how did I get, okay, the experience was really awesome. That's the first thing I'll say. And mind blowing, wonderful, whatever words you can come up with for that experience, yeah, you can say those positive words, right? And how did I get there is basically, through one of my experts that I have interviewed. And so when I interviewed him, I created that relationship with him, which I always do with all my guests. And when I created a relationship with him, I did quite a number of things for him. And from that, he had this event where Russell Brunson was in there, and speaking, and I was invited to that event, and through that event, I got the opportunity to speak with Russell Brunson. So it's all because of my interview show. And because if I didn't launch my interview show, I would not have got that opportunity. Right? So the power of an interview show is so powerful that it can get you connected with experts without a lot of hard work.
Right.
Yeah. One good example I'll share as well. A lot of entrepreneurs, right? When they, for example, they want to get a chance to even speak to Russell Brunson, how much hard work they have to go through to just reach to speak to Russell Brunson. But within less than 1 year of launching my interview show, I got the opportunity to speak with Russell Brunson. And it's because of relationship, and main thing is because I launched my interview show. And that's why I encourage everyone who's watching this right now, if you're in your entrepreneurship journey, look at Priyanka as well. She's doing it. She's crushing it. So you have to launch your own interview show.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's build authority in the market and authority and credibility. Yes.
Exactly.
So amazing. I can feel your energy when you were expressing about how you connected with the Russell Brunson and talking with him. Yes.
It's crazy.
So,
it's crazy.
Yes. Really. So I would just like to know, how can people connect with you if someone wants to connect, because you are doing the weekly coachings, free trainings also, and yes, and you are sharing a lot of tips in your group. So if someone wants to take your those trainings, so how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so I think you have the link, right? So it's the Voice
Yes.
Warriors group, where this group, like I mentioned, we monitor how I help you to monetize your interview show, right? A lot of people think that having an interview show, you are not able to monetize it, but there are so many different ways, right? You can monetize podcasts, but how about monetizing an interview show? And so over there, we share tips on how to launch your show, right? I have a free training as well on how to launch your show, the 7 keys that you need to launch your show. So if you want, if you want to catch that training, just click on the link, join that group, and the training is there. And every Wednesday, like you mentioned, I have live trainings, except for this one today. The reason is because I had some other projects to settle. So, but then again, I always do give as much value as possible. As you know me, Priyanka, as
Yes.
you can feel the energy that I have, because
Correct.
every time when I go on live, I make sure my energy is here. Right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't want my energy to be here, because reason why? Because I want to transfer my energy, and I want to pass my energy to the viewers who are watching it. And with that energy as well, I give value. I share value bombs, if you can say it. But I try my best to share tips on how to help you in your entrepreneurship, in your online journey. And so with that as well, yeah, if you guys would like to join, the Watch Warriors group is totally free. And yeah, Priyanka will share that link later on or something
Yes.
like that. And yeah,
Yes. Yes.
definitely, you're welcome to join the group.
Yeah, I will put the link in the comment section after this interview.
Cool.
Okay. Actually, first time I'm using this restream, and I don't know how to display
Yeah,
that
we had
on the
some
screen.
issues with
Yes.
StreamYard, right? So yeah,
Yes.
it's okay.
Yes.
You see, this is something that I must share as well. It happens, right? I
Correct.
had times where um, previously my guest couldn't make it due to some reason. It happened to me yesterday as well, right? But it was nice is because I gave you a heads up, right? But there were one or two of my guests that told me that they can't attend my show on the time when I go live. Right? That's scary, right?
Yes,
so
yes,
so yeah, so it happens, right? And things like technical things going down, your camera not working, your lights not working, your mic not working, but it happens. But still taking those imperfect action, like you did right now, Restream Studio, and you did it. You took that
yes,
imperfect action, you did it, and so that really counts,
yes,
right?
yes.
So yeah, so basically that's it.
Yeah. So Daniel, trust me or not, this is the best interview till date I'm having.
Oh,
Actually, I
thank
have
you,
done
thank you.
minimum 6 to 7 interviews before this, and this is the best interview till date.
Thank you so
And
much.
I just wanted to, yeah, I just want to let the audience. Daniel has shared a lot of things in this particular interview. So if you still have any question and you want to ask Daniel, you can just put that question in the comment section, and Daniel will definitely answer that question. And I will
Yeah,
put the links there. So thank you so much, Daniel, for
you're
coming
most
on the
welcome.
show and sharing
Thank
your
you.
yeah, giving your precious time to us.
Yes, you're most welcome, and thank you very much for having me on the show. It's such an honor. I hope that whatever I shared, it's helpful and valuable to your audience. And yeah, most
Yes, yes,
importantly, we all have to implement it, because without
correct.
implementation, without action, nothing is going to happen. Right?
Correct, correct. Implementation
All
is the
right.
key.
Yes.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes. Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much. I will just wrap up and I will connect you within 2 minutes. Okay? Yeah,
Awesome.
sure.
Cool.
Yeah,
See
thank you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so I will share all the details of Daniel. If you want to connect with the Daniel, I will put his profile link and his group link also, so you can directly connect with the Daniel. And if you are having any questions, if you want to start your own interview show, so you can go and ask directly to the Daniel also. So guys, in next week I am again coming with one other amazing guest with me, and she also going to share a lot of things with you. So stay tuned for the next week episodes announcement. I will announce that it on my profile. So till the date, so just stay happy. Bye.